Chapter 34. Fractured Keys, Borrowed Memories. The shop basement thrummed softly, data streams gliding through the scanners like whispering ghosts. Mark sat on the floor with his back against the wall, one hand still glowing faintly. Mia hovered nearby, fine-tuning the hologram filters, while Morris monitored the vault-locked server drive like it might suddenly sprout legs. Triad glyphs are showing harmonic incompatibility, Mia said. We're missing a resonance sync. In English? Morris asked. We're trying to translate a three-part key with only two voices. One of us isn't tuned to the right pattern. Mark looked up. What if the third voice isn't one of us? The room went still. What do you mean? Mia asked. Mark swallowed. Ever since the other dude activated that counterglyph, I've been seeing stuff. Not dreams, memories, places I've never been, knowledge I shouldn't have. He stood and pointed to one of the red-locked triads on the display. I know what that one is. It's a timeline anchor. It tethers a containment structure to a star's gravitational resonance. How? Mia whispered. I don't know. But when the glyph on my palm flared, it didn't just react. It unfolded something in my head. Morris crossed his arms. Okay, I'm gonna say it. The vault tagged your brain like a hard drive. Mark nodded. The more I look at the data, the more I remember. Things that didn't happen to me. Enter the vault's Sci-Fi. Using Mark as a conduit, they began to make progress. Mia structured a recursive cipher based on the imprint pattern in Mark's memory threads. Each time he touched one of the locked glyphs, a secondary sequence lit up, small flickering pulses of translation. With Morris reading emotional cues, Mia decoding syntax, and Mark acting as psychic tuning fork, the first triad finally began to unlock. A symbol emerged from the red overlay, a spiraling vault, with fracture lines drawn across its surface, and one word translated beneath it. Repeater. This isn't just a gate, Mia murmured. It's a broadcast node. If the one dude opens that glyph, he won't just breach the vault. Mark finished the sentence. He'll send out a beacon, a call to whatever was locked away. Far away, an answer begins. Somewhere beyond Pluto, deep within a slingshot orbit designed to be untraceable, a sleeper construct stirred. It was neither ship nor satellite, closer to a living relay, dormant for eons. The signal it received was faint, imperfect, but it recognized the shape of the gate. It woke. Back in the comic shop, Mia looked up from the terminal. Her voice was tight. The repeater gate is on a timer. It completes its cycle in 4 days. If the one dude finishes his activation, the signal gets out. Mark stood, glyph hand glowing brighter. Then we beat him to it. Morris grabbed his bag. We don't just stop him. We finish the translation first, find the original failsafe, and seal the repeater permanently. Mia activated a new map. There's another coordinate set embedded in the triads, not Utah, not Earth. The screen flickered. Lunar axis, O3A, Vault of Silence. Mark met her eyes. Get the teleporter ready, we're going to the moon. Sunday morning. The drop-off. Back in Morris's Pinto, with the desert wind behind them and the vault far beneath the sand, a different weight settled into the car, a human one. The weight of school, family, routine. Things with rules and hall passes, things that didn't make space for emergency lunar expeditions. Morris broke the silence first. We have a problem. Mark didn't need clarification. Martha. She was in the back seat again, gently petting her lizard and humming a tune about Quantum the Space Lizard. For all her giggling charm, the kid had a memory like a steel trap and a dramatic streak inherited directly from Saturday morning cartoons. She saw the glyphs, Mark said, heard about the vault. Mia stared out the window. She thinks we took her to a science museum. We lean into that, reinforce it, redirect the memory with something cooler and unprovable, like free slime or a hologram of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Morris nodded. And when we drop her off, no tension, no signals, just a great day out. They pulled into the driveway just past noon. Joe and Jasmine came out smiling, arms open. Martha jumped from the car with the speed of a kid full of lizard facts and untapped story time energy. We caught a lizard, she said, proudly holding up the snack box like it was a trophy. Joe blinked. "You fished a lizard?" "It's a special kind," Morris said smoothly. "Lives in dry riverbeds. Rare, very cooperative." Martha added, "And then we went to a science museum shaped like a rock. It had glowy walls and no snack bar." Jasmine raised an eyebrow. "It's one of those new tiny museums," Morris offered, "off I-89 near Panguitch, trying to bring science to the heartland." The suspicion melted into nods. Mark exhaled. One less secret left unguarded. Convincing the gatekeepers over lunch, Morris transitioned into Phase 2, the Comic-Con Gambit. "I was hoping to take Mark and Mia with me to Florida tomorrow," he said. 4 days max. Just long enough to help my store gain some traction. I've got a panel spot. They'd be invaluable backup." Joe's face tightened. "Absolutely not. School's important, and Mark already missed time." Mark leaned in. "We'll keep up with our classes. Everything's on Google Classroom, and we're way ahead in every subject, Dad. I've finished my research paper on symbolism and empathy in post-Golden Age comics." That turned Jasmine's head. "You wrote what now?" Mia folded her hands primly. "I even helped write citations in MLA and Chicago styles. For fun." Joe still looked skeptical, until Jasmine softened. "Maybe this is good for them. It's structured. It's supervised." She looked Morris in the eye. "Swear to me they sleep, eat right, and come back with their grades intact." Morris laid a hand over his heart. "Scout's honor." Joe grunted. "Fine. But if his GPA drops, I'm making you take Algebra 2 with him." Mark grinned wide. "Deal." He bolted upstairs to pack. Loose ends and tensions. While Mark rummaged through his closet, tossing in dark jeans, scanned hoodie, and 2 foil-lined pouches of emergency supplies, Mia folded shirts with a calm, clinical precision. Downstairs, Joe and Jasmine leaned into the kitchen counter, quiet. "He barely spends time with us anymore," Jasmine said. Joe nodded. "Feels like he's already somewhere else." "I don't know if it's just the age," she added, "or if he's found another orbit." Morris approached them quietly. "I promise," he said. "After this trip I'll pull back. Let him re-anchor. You've got my word." They nodded, trusting but uncertain. Nightfall. Operation Miss Gooby. Later that night, beneath a navy sky stitched with stars, Mark and Mia stood on the stoop of a tidy bungalow shaded by heavy oak branches. They had tracked down Miss Gooby's address through local listings and cross-referenced yearbook teacher bios. Mark inhaled deeply and knocked. A light flicked on inside. The porch light followed, and then the door opened. Miss Gooby, robe, slippers, cup of herbal tea in hand, blinked at the 2 teens standing on her porch like emissaries from another world. "Mark? Mia?" she asked, puzzled. "Is this about the reading assignment? Because I'm not grading until—" Mark cut her off gently. "Miss Gooby, we need your help. And it's about NASA, and maybe saving the world." The tea didn't even tremble in her hand. She just stepped aside. "All right, kids. Let's make history." Chapter 35. Tea and Telemetry. Morris had expected 100 different reactions when Mark insisted they visit Miss Gooby. What he hadn't expected was to be completely disarmed by a tea-scented Sunday evening, and a woman who wore presents like armor. When she returned downstairs, dressed in soft jeans and a dusky olive blouse that matched the spring in her voice, Morris felt something catch behind his ribs. She wasn't glamorous, no. She was radiant. Hair pinned back in a functional twist, eyes sharp but kind. She was the kind of attractive born not from polish, but from certainty. She walked like someone who had watched sunrises from observatories and still marveled at the dew on backyard grass. Even her socks had little rocket ships on them. It was the first time Morris, the bard of back issues and bluster, forgot his punchline. He fumbled briefly, then offered an honest smile. "Sorry to crash so late, ma'am. We wouldn't be here unless it really, truly mattered." She placed a fresh teapot on the table and invited them to sit. While she ducked into the kitchen to fetch mugs, Mark lowered his voice. When she sits down, let me do the talking. Mia gave a small nod. Once they'd all gathered at the table, steam curling between them, Mark spoke first. I know this sounds unbelievable, and I wouldn't blame you for walking out or calling someone. But this is bigger than us. It's classified by us, technically, he added with a self-deprecating shrug. We need your help. Access to NASA storage, specifically suits, oxygen management, enough to survive a visit to the moon. Miss Gooby didn't laugh. She just sipped her tea, waited. Her expression remained unreadable, like she was attending an impromptu performance where she hadn't yet decided if the actors deserved applause. Morris leaned forward. I get it. This is a lot. You haven't seen enough to want to believe. But if you hang with us a few minutes more, you'll understand why we had to come to you. Still, nothing. Until Mark inhaled deeply and dropped the veil entirely. Mia isn't who you think she is, he said. She's not just smart, or quick, or from Florida. Mia is not human, and we're not sure yet what we're heading toward up there. But we think it's dangerous and real, and if we don't get there first, Earth might not have the luxury of normal anymore. Miss Gooby tilted her head slightly. That's your pitch? Mark nodded. That's our truth. Miss Gooby took another sip and placed the mug down. Well then, she said dryly, you better show me something real. Morris placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Whatever happens next, don't freak out. You're safe. Mia stepped forward and gave a graceful, subtle bow. My real name, she said quietly, is Nimba. Mia is the biosuit I wear to move among you. Then her chest plate clicked softly. A line appeared along her forehead and extended down to her abdomen, parting like seamless petals. With a sound somewhere between a breath and a whisper, the skin peeled back. Nestled inside the hollow torso, harnessed in what looked like a cockpit grown from bone and crystal, was a being no taller than a 6-year-old. Sleek, grey-skinned, limbs slender and oddly graceful, amphibian texture like frog skin in moonlight, and eyes, huge and depthless, twin oceans of glistening black. The classic grey, and yet not at all cold. She blinked up at Miss Gooby. No words, no threat, just quiet humility, as if awaiting judgment from the keeper of the classroom. Miss Gooby's mug fell. She screamed, a short high note of existential whiplash, and stumbled backward. Morris caught her before she hit the floor, wrapping an arm around her trembling shoulders. Easy, easy, she's safe. Still the Mia we love. Still the kid who nailed her book report on Animal Farm. Miss Gooby's breath came in shallow waves. That's a Grey. From every conspiracy. Every Roswell photo. I know, Morris said softly. And she's ours. She's good. What you should be scared of is the other guy. Elgin. And whatever's listening on the other end of the signal. Miss Gooby looked from Nimba to Mark, to Morris, and finally, to Mia, whose face slowly sealed shut again, returning to the familiar young girl she knew, brilliant, odd, unflinching. I need more tea, she whispered. Morris gently helped her back to her chair. You'll have all you need, he said. We're not asking for blind trust, just open eyes. And in that moment, as Miss Gooby's hand reached for her cup again, less shaking now, the team knew. They had just gained a powerful ally. Now, with access to a NASA lead and time ticking toward an open gate, they could begin planning a trip no high school science curriculum had ever accounted for. Miss Gooby made few calls to former co-workers, and soon she had the name of the place. The Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Mark Googled the address, and on Google Maps found the coordinates which in turn were read to Mia, who input them in the teleportation device. Launch suits and moonlight plans. The room pulsed with an otherworldly hum, the kind of vibration that settled behind your ribs and made the fine china quiver ever so slightly in Miss Gooby's cabinet. In the center of the dining room, flanked by bookshelves, a portal shimmered open, the air folding in on itself like a mirror, remembering how to breathe. It cast a soft, eerie blue glow across the walls, and for a moment, even the stars outside seemed to pause. Mia stepped back from the device, her fingers still warm from tapping the coordinates into the soul button. Each input a rhythmic dance of long and short presses, like alien Morse code. "Coordinates locked," she said calmly. "Kennedy Space Center. External inventory staging deck. Local time, 0311. Visibility, minimal. Thermal presence, negligible." Miss Gooby blinked slowly, tea forgotten on the table. "That's in Florida." Mark gave a small nod. "To them, yes. To us, about 30 seconds away." Miss Gooby stared into the swirling light. "And you're telling me you can just blink, grab suits from NASA and blink back without being seen?" "Exactly," Mark said. "The portal keeps us off camera. We're not touching artifacts. We just need to borrow the newest EVA suits. Look, test, understand. Maybe a few hours at most." "The big risk isn't teleporting," Morris added. "It's operating the suits, pressurizing them, and making them Mars walk ready for, the moon." Miss Gooby looked at the portal, her expression flickering between skeptical scientist, wide-eyed dreamer, and responsible adult. And then she smiled, slow and fearless. "Well," she said, grabbing her denim jacket off the back of the chair, "someone needs to verify you hooligans don't try to rewire life support using duct tape and nostalgia." Morris gave a lopsided grin. "That's a yes, right?" She slipped her arms into the sleeves. "That's a don't make me regret this." Mark offered his hand to steady her as she stepped closer to the portal. "Welcome to the team." Miss Gooby adjusted her glasses and peered into the spiraling gateway. "It's not every Sunday evening you find out your student is a space-time smuggler and your old NASA badge might come back into play." "And it's not every Sunday," Morris added. "You get to impress someone smart enough to make quantum mechanics sound flirty." Mia rolled her eyes. "You two can flirt after we finish not dying on the moon." The four of them stood together at the edge of the unknown. One ex-NASA hopeful, one cosmic trickster, one teenage astronaut with a glowing palm, and one extraterrestrial genius with a beating heart. "All right," Mark said. "Let's suit up." And with that, they stepped through.